Joe Pantalone, the sitting deputy mayor of Toronto, is a veteran municipal politician. He's seen many mayors of Toronto. Now he's taken the plunge to become the mayor of Toronto. I sat down with Joe Pantalone to find out how his mayoral race is going and how his mayoral campaign is going. Here's what we spoke about. Welcome to our segment on politics. Obviously, what's being talked about the most is the mayoral candidacy or the mayoral race in Toronto, Toronto being the largest and the biggest city of Canada. And the top job in Toronto would be the mayor of Toronto, and that job is now up for stake and a lot of people are fighting for it. Some of the key candidates that are running for this position are Councillor Joe Pantalone, who is also the deputy mayor of Toronto right now, Rocco Rossi, George Smitherman, Rob Ford, and a few others. In our show on politics today, we are going to be talking to Deputy Mayor Joe Pantalone, who's been kind enough to be here with us in the studio to talk about his mayoral race and how it's all turning out. Welcome to the show, Mr. Pantalone.
Well, thank you. It's a great pleasure to be here. I mean, being in touch with Torontonians is always a good thing, and this is a great opportunity to do that. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, you've been a councillor for God knows how many years. You're now the longest standing councillor, having Mr. Moscow, who's about to retire. And you're not giving up anytime soon. Now you're going for the big job. So how does the future look to you right now?
Well, I've been deputy mayor for 6 years, and I've been elected as a member of Toronto City Council close to 30 years, actually. And I think that my opportunity looks good. It looks good for a number of reasons. Mm-hmm. First of all, I'm the most experienced of all the individuals who are running for city council and for mayor. Mm-hmm. And experience has its value. If you go to a doctor, you want somebody who is experienced. You don't want somebody who doesn't know is going to experiment on you. Mm-hmm. Because if he experiments on you, well, things can go wrong. Mm-hmm. Same thing with running a city as complicated as Toronto, which has got 2.6 million residents, and is really Canada's largest city. So I'm optimistic about it. Also, I believe that who is Joe Pantalone mm-hmm. Resonates with Torontonians. Mm-hmm. I'm part of the 50% of Torontonians who were not born in Canada.
Right.
You know, I came actually at the age of 13 from Italy. My parents were poor farmers there. They took their 7 kids to have a better life. And at the age of 13, I only spoke 2 words of English because I've seen it in the movies, yeah and no. So therefore, we have an amazing city which allows those of us who are immigrants to work hard, and we do work hard, and then have the opportunity to become deputy mayor and possibly mayor. And that applies in many professions. And that resonates with people because I know that people work hard, need to be respected, and the city has to service and help our communities in order to make sure that we contribute. The experience, the fact that my heart is what it is, mm-hmm. and the fact that I am a city builder also resonates. My father was a city builder. He was a construction worker. He helped build the Bloor-Danforth subway. I'm a city builder in a different way because I want to build a transit city, because we're also getting stuck in traffic here, mm-hmm. and that's not very healthy. And transportation is fundamental because for our productivity, if you're stuck in the car, you're not working. If you're stuck in the car, you're polluting. If you start the car, you're not where you want to be, which is with your family. And that is an amazing problem that we have. It's a challenge, really, which as mayor, I want to make sure it gets overcome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've addressed a few of the challenges already, which we're going to go into details about. But before going there, when you said you're the most experienced person and running a city is not an experiment that we can hand over to anyone, are you taking a shot at any of the other candidates, or are you just...
Yes, of all the candidates, only Councillor Ford has been a member of City Council. Mr. Smitherman has not been a member of Toronto City Council. Mr. Rossi has never been elected to mm-hmm. any office. And I believe that Toronto, being mayor of this Canada's largest city, is not a starter job mm-hmm. for somebody, nor is it a consolation prize if you tried somewhere else and then you come over here. It's a complex city. And I also mentioned the fact that cities are like living organisms. They can grow and prosper, and it can wither and die. But it requires an expert gardener, if you will, to look after this garden. You may have to trim it, prune it, shape it in order to make sure it grows right, but you have to know what you're doing. And I'd like to suggest, because the city provides everything that's worth living, from policing, fire, ambulance, roads, transit, parks, forestry and recreation, water and sewage, public housing, childcare, welfare. If the city functions, the community functions. If the city goes wrong because it gets mismanaged, then it's a problem.
Now, talking about mismanagement, the other candidates are harping that Mayor Miller's days were times of pure mismanagement for the city. Miller's days were the darkest days of Toronto, or some of the stuff that is being said around in media. Now, you're part of Miller's team, and you were the deputy mayor, and you've been a very key person in his team. How do you respond to those allegations?
Well, first of all, Joe Pantalone has been a key person of the David Miller team, but he was also a key person of the Mayor Lastman team before him. I was chair of the Economic Development Planning Committee, Exhibition Place, Tree Advocate, and so forth. My response is that the reality of Toronto is not as bad as those people make it up to be. 85% of the people of Toronto, when they're asked, "Do you like this city?" They say yes. So therefore, it's exaggerated. For example, Toronto is the only government out of the 6 largest governments, and the only ones that are larger is the government of Canada, Ontario, Quebec, British Columbia, and Alberta, which does not have a deficit. We balance our books. We have a debt, but debt is not necessarily a problem. If you want to buy a house, you have to get a mortgage. That's a debt. If you want to build a subway or a recreation center in a priority neighborhood, you have to take debt. And by the way, the people who judge this are rating agencies. There's Moody's, which is the ones who give out loans basically to cities and others. It gave the city of Toronto AA1 rating, and they said, "You're doing well. Congratulations." So I think that that's an exaggeration. We all tend to focus sometimes on the negative. I think you said earlier that if you have a blank paper of white and there's a black dot, we focus on the black dot. We forget that the whole page basically is white. Well, Toronto is like the whole page is white, but there's a few black dots there, but they're small and we have to look after them. But let's not think that that's what it's all about. It would be a mistake.
Now, if you become the mayor, which you think you will, and you look like you're well positioned, you're in 3rd place according to polls, and you seem to have some secret weapons up your sleeves that you can use in the next few weeks to come. How are you going to change Toronto from what it is now?
I would like Toronto to be to a fantastic city. We're an amazing city now. We celebrate our diversity, for example. We say diversity is our strength. And I think we're on the cusp of becoming a truly fantastic city. The way you can do that is by building these European-style high-speed trains everywhere. That's what Transit City is. And it's an affordable one, by the way. My opponents are proposing systems cost 5 times as much. That's not fiscally responsible. Secondly, I want to also have people have fun. At Exhibition Place, it was I who put the deal together for the BMO Field, the soccer stadium, which has brought soccer from being played everywhere, but not having the excellence, the presence in the community, to have an amazing presence. Well, I've identified a missing piece of sports infrastructure, which is a first-class cricket stadium. And it's a missing piece because we have now a baseball stadium, we have a soccer stadium, we have a hockey stadium, we have even a tennis stadium, but we don't have a cricket stadium. I believe that, and as mayor, it would be my highest priority to build a first-class cricket stadium here in Toronto, so that we can have international competitions. Our communities will be able to play there because cricket is the fastest growing sport in Southern Ontario. We don't have one. My approach is that we have to create wealth because a cricket stadium will be economic activity, it will be jobs. We have to provide recreation for our people where they can have fun, and also we have to knit the city together through this web of European-style high-speed trains, which called Transit City, in order to make it easy for people. Because if you're stuck in the car, you're not working. If you're stuck in the car, you're polluting. If you're stuck in the car, you're not where you want to be. And that's what it will be. That's my vision of Toronto which I will make it happen because I'm experienced. I know what I'm doing.
You talk about